What is up? What is going on, everybody? Welcome back and welcome into the walk-off win post-game recap. I got the reinforcement with me today. Mariner SUR is joining me for our weekly show. We were going to do it posted this series no matter what, but it's nice that we get to finish this off with a huge Mariners win and just one that they absolutely felt like they needed to get. Before I dive any further, do me a favor. Smash the like button, comment your thoughts on this game down below. And I'm now 58 subs away from 4,000. So if you guys could hit that sub button, I would truly appreciate it. Let's dive into, a great win and a win they felt like they needed. How are you doing today, my friend? What'd you think of this one?
Yeah, I'm doing a lot better than I was 40 minutes ago. So yeah, it's a great win. I think obviously frustrating how they got there. It was 8 innings of just awful baseball against the Tigers bullpen game. But, I think sometimes when a team's on a little bit of a slide, it can be hard to get that win to get out of it. So let's hope that this is what that win was. So however they got it, I'm not going to complain. It doesn't take back some of the concerning things that we saw in those first 8 innings. But yeah, it's a fantastic finish to the game and great to see Haniger with another walk-off hit or RBI, second one of the homestands. I think he now is the franchise leader in walk-off hits, walks, whatever you want to call it, with 8.
And we talked about before we started recording, and I know everybody watching is thinking the same thing. That ball was going to get caught, right? We all were convinced that way. I know you were. I know I was. I know everybody watching thought for sure the Tigers were making another miracle catch. For sure,
yeah. They had the robbery in the 8th inning last night that probably cost us a win. And then today's game starts off with, Robles hits a ball in the 6th hole. The shortstop makes an insane, throw across his body. And then very next hitter, second baseman, crazy diving play out in the infield grass. And honestly, after those 2 plays, I was like, oh God, here we go again. So yeah, when that right fielder left his feet in the 9th inning, I thought for sure it's going to be another devastating play to kind of ruin our hopes and dreams there.
So yeah, you're not alone. Anybody that's watching this that felt that, off the bat, I was like, for sure that's getting down. Then I saw him diving, like, oh my gosh, this is how it's going to end. And then thankfully he did dive, because had he not, we might still be playing baseball, and who knows how the game would have played out. But the dive with 2 outs allowed all 3 runs to score, and the Mariners find a way to walk it off. And I think you said it best. I don't think it eliminates all the frustrations from this series. It was not a great series for the team. But they always seem to kind of do this right when I'm right on the brink of just being like, man, I just don't see it. They pull out these wins and they pull me, to steal a line from The Godfather, they pull me right back in, right when I'm ready to be done. Do you get that same vibe as well sometimes from this team?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, plenty of times where I'm like, oh God, they're just never going to come out of this. We're running out of time. So yeah, no, I feel the exact same way. They kind of have a way of coming up with a big win and stretch a lot of times to pull you right back in, to at least give you some hope.
I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I'll take it. I'd much rather be invested in the team than not. It is a much better feeling than sitting through 100 lost seasons. I forgot to mention it before, everybody, but do me a favor. If you're on Twitter X, give Mariner SUR a follow, one of the best Mariner accounts on there. His info will be linked in the description down below. Talk to me a little about your thoughts on Mitch Haniger, because he hasn't had the best year. He's actually hit righties fairly well, but not much of a defensive value player. Up and down offensively, mostly down, but has come through in some big moments. And I will say, like, despite some of his struggles, I did kind of have a good feeling with him up. He seems to, he gives you the definition of what is a veteran at bat in those situations. What's your thoughts on that?
I agree. Yeah. I don't have like the numbers up or anything. I'll maybe dig into it tomorrow, but I feel like he's been like overall better lately. And it's been a really weird year for him where he's hit righties well to the tune of like a 120 WRC plus. Lefties is like 20. It's probably up over 20 now because he had a couple home runs against lefties. Then he's got like a 130 WRC plus at home I saw today, and like 30 on the road, which is kind of odd. You think both of those would be flipped. So I think part of it is overall numbers are down, because there was a time where they moved him to a platoon bat this year, and he wasn't hitting lefties. So, kind of since I think Julio's been out, he's been playing a lot more. And I feel like his overall numbers have been good in that time. For me, I agree. In the big moments, it truly does feel like he posts a really quality bat more often than not. So I kind of had the same sense when he was up to the plate. I kind of expected that, honestly. Just one of those kind of pat and Mitch Haniger drive the ball to right field and hope it finds some grass. So yeah, I think once again, overall, his numbers aren't good. I think part of that is just it's been a weird year in how they use him. I don't blame him for doing it, but it was kind of counterintuitive to how he's producing. So if they would have almost reverse platooned him this year, his numbers would probably be good. So he almost wasn't put in the best situation. Once again, I don't blame the Mariners for how they did it. It didn't really make sense. So yeah, but he's come up clutch twice his homestand, which is great to see.
Yeah, it's weird too because Luke Raley actually has something similar, not with reverse splits, but his numbers being better at home than on the road. So I mean, I guess it makes a little more sense for a lefty in T-Mobile to have better numbers possibly. But yeah, with Mitch Haniger, you know, it always seems like in those big moments, at the very least, he puts up a good at bat. He's able to spit on some tough pitches. He may swing and miss at one. I thought the slider that he swung and missed at 1-1 was a pretty good pitch to hit. I wouldn't say it was a hanger, but it was kind of in what looked like should be kind of a sweet spot for him. But then, I think he laid off another tough pitch, fouled one off, just gets the bat on the ball. And I think, again, when I talk about veteran at bat, Justin Turner, a veteran, had a brutal at bat couple right before Haniger, but it's the definition of not trying to do too much, just trying to go the other way, poke that fastball in the right field. And we talked about put the ball in play. Good things can happen. Mitch did that. And the Mariners find a way to get a huge win. Forgotten in the hoopla of the walk-off was Brian Wu, 6 2/3, 5 hits, 3 run, 3 earned, 1 walk, 7 Ks, outside of kind of a BABIP fourth inning from the fifth inning, which was kind of the Tigers' MO this series. What did you think about Brian Wu tonight?
Yeah, I thought he was really good. Got deep into the game again. Pitch count was low. So I think one, it proves he's healthy. That's his second straight outing, getting in the 7th inning, which is great. Yeah, I thought he was really good in that inning. He did let up 3 runs. I know that, Divish kind of posted a chart of where his pitches were. A lot of the hits they had were right down the middle. But yeah, I mean, a lot of them were, I think, fairly well hit ground balls, but you would expect not 3 of them in a row to find the grass. You'd hope that one of them would find, an infielder's glove. So I thought he was good. Against this lineup, looking at it, you almost kind of expect to allow 1 or 2 runs with our pitching. But, I think really all 3 starters in the series were decent, not great. And Wu in particular, I thought, it was kind of what you'd expect, really good. Unfortunate 1 inning, but very, very happy that he was able to go deep in the game as well. Like I said, it proves to me that I think he is feeling the best he has all season, which is going to be crucial down the stretch.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best takeaway. What you said from the start is the fact that Brian Wu, now 2 starts in a row, has gone 7 innings or come in this one and out away from going a full 7. I think that's huge for the team because Wu has been fantastic, but just haven't been able to go deep into the game. So to see him getting into the 7th is a great feeling. And yeah, a couple of the balls were hit hard. I think McKinstry's double was hit pretty well. I forgot who had the hit, but the second one before Parker Meadows was hit pretty well. Ground ball, but it was over 100 exit velo. So I don't want to claim like the whole inning was just bad luck. There were some decent hit balls. But like you said, you just don't expect all those to find a hole is essentially the thing. But yeah, I thought Brian Wu was fantastic. Kind of like the same as all 3 pitchers this series. All of them kind of just had some ground balls, find holes a little bit. I think a little unlucky. Maybe Kirby not as unlucky yesterday, but Castillo was every grounder found a hole.
Yeah.
And it's nice to see today the offense. I don't want to say they bailed out Wu because he was fine, but I talk about it on my show all the time. It would be nice to have a Mariners starter go 6 innings, 3 or 4 runs, but still be able to get a win, in these games. It always feels like they have to be perfect, and they shouldn't have to be each time. That should be a good enough start on a bullpen day to get a win.
For sure. I think you and I even messaged you when they got down 3-0 today that against the Tigers bullpen game, this should not feel like a game that's over. And it kind of did at that time. So yeah, I agree that good to be able to pull one out when a starter does give up 3 runs. We're going to have to do that a lot more often going down the stretch for sure.
Yeah. And they're going to need that because, the pitching's been fantastic and hopefully it holds up. They're going to need it to hold up, but you got to win some of these starts when they're not just perfect each time. I got to say too, what's up with the Mariners? They did against Philly on Saturday too. I don't know much about the Tigers bullpen, but Hanifi and Salmons, no problem shutting them down. Then they go to Holton and Vest. Yeah. And I know the hit Holton gave up was Raley, essentially a bunt down the line. They did that against the Phillies too. Allard, they couldn't hit, but then they go to Hoffman, who's a lights out reliever, and they find a way. I don't know if there's anything to that, but I think it's just funny that then they find a way to get the runs.
Yeah, the team doesn't make sense sometimes. Because, looking back in the last, going into that Allard start, I felt like the offense was turning a little bit of a corner. And then they get shut down by Colby Allard, Keeter Montero, and, Brian Sammons are the 3 starters in those games. Zach Willer and Tariq Skubalt's whatever, but yeah, it's, 5 starts in a row where the offense has not done a good job against the bulk guys or starters. And 3 of them just aren't very good. So yeah, luckily we have hit, Jeff Hoffman and Holton and Vest, or we'd be in a rough spot.
Yeah, I think some of that just got to chalk up to baseball. It's a weird sport. We are now how many games have they played? 115, 16? I still have no idea what to really make of this team. You would think over 116 games, we'd figure it out. I mean, listen, we know the pitching's good and the offense is not, but just in terms of how they arrive to it, I still can't get them figured out. After Brian Wu, Jimmy Garcia threw an inning and a third, excuse me. 2 strikeouts, looked great. We got to talk about it a little bit because had they lost, I think it would have been a big talking point. I'll get your thoughts on it. I gave my thoughts yesterday. No Garcia and Munoz in a game where they're down 1 in the 9th. I'll be clear. I don't think it cost them the game. I don't know if they would have rallied in the 9th, but it seemed like a smart decision to keep it at 3-2. And the whole thing was they're not going to pitch unless we're tied or have the lead. Okay, then today, down 2, Jimmy Garcia comes in. Your thoughts on this whole kind of bullpen situation?
Yeah, I think it's kind of bizarre because, Service talked about it today. And one of the things he said is there's a lot that goes into it. How stuff they were dealing with earlier in the year. Maybe they've only been down a day or 2 or a day off tomorrow. And those are all things that I knew. And for me, it's why wasn't Munoz in? He hadn't thrown in 3 days. And so I just thought it was kind of bizarre in a 1-run game. And then, I didn't have any issues with what they did today, but it was kind of counterintuitive to, what they said yesterday. So it didn't make much sense to me, kind of what they did yesterday, but today they were rewarded with, chasing the win. So it was great to see.
Yeah, kind of perfect example, right? I like what they did today. I think they did actually do it right. It was just more, okay, yesterday you made this point about not going to these guys down by a run. And then today you go to him down by 2 runs. And it was the right call. Garcia, Chargois shut down the lineup for the rest of the way. And your offense rallies only being down 2 runs. And I was with you yesterday. Had Munoz and Garcia pitched on Tuesday,
right,
I wouldn't have thrown a big fit about it, but they were well rested. Or even if it was, I said in the post game, if it was April 8th, whatever. I get it. I get being really careful early, but we're into it now. I mean, we're almost getting to September here. It's kind of all hands on deck as long as everybody's not hurt and good to go. Mariners do make a roster move today. They DFA Jonathan Hernandez, who I know me and you are both kind of high on. So he's gone. We'll see if they can keep him in the system. Kind of just, again, weird. And I know maybe you have some thoughts on it because we were DMing about it a little bit. Your thoughts on that roster move?
Yeah, I didn't get it. Once again, I thought he looked pretty good in his outings, and they had enough arms that were available today. And that's kind of what they said is, we need we need an extra arm today. And to me, it's if that's the case, I think Emerson Hancock started tonight for Tacoma. So in my mind, it's why not? If that's what you're doing, why not get somebody up that can do multiple innings and he can really save the pen if that's what's needed. So I was bummed to see Hernandez go because, like I said, I really liked the stuff that he showed. And I don't think it was a pressing need where the entire bullpen had been exhausted. There's plenty of guys that were good to go tonight. So that one was a little bit head scratching to me for sure.
Yeah, that was to me too. They made the point, like you said, that we needed, all, some length out of the bullpen. I didn't really get that because I don't think the bullpen had been necessarily overtaxed. Like you said, if you're looking for a long guy, I mean, call up Hancock. There's got to be someone else in Tacoma that can throw multiple innings if that's truly what you're looking for. And listen, I'm not going to lose too much sleep over it. I don't think losing Hernandez is going to be the difference between playoffs and not. But outside of Garcia, Munoz, and Voth to an extent, and Colin Snyder now too, I'll throw him in there.
Yep.
This bullpen has been a little shaky in the middle part of it. Saucedo's been struggling. Thornton's been really up or down. You look for anybody that can get some outs. Colin Snyder's a perfect example. We talked about it after his Kansas City series. He looked really good. We're like, listen, you need guys that can get outs. And he's proven it. Now he's found himself as a key piece of this bullpen. Hernandez has looked pretty good, has one bad outing that you trusted him in a close game.
Right.
And now he's just gone, and again, maybe they can get him back through and we'll see, but just seemed kind of odd there to be honest, for me. And I know you kind of mentioned the Tyson Miller situation too. And a team that I usually think has pretty sound roster management. Now we can debate how good the rosters are, but I think they've been pretty solid at it. And they've had a couple head scratchers for me this year.
Yeah, I thought Ty Dane Gonzalez framed it up really well. He was like, so you're telling me a pitcher that threw in a 1-run game yesterday in the 9th inning is now DFA'd because of one bad outing. So I think kind of like further highlights, like, what are we doing last night? If to me, that means you thought Hernandez was good enough to go out there and get 3 outs. And if that's the case, why would you lose him over? I don't know where they thought they needed the coverage tonight, to be honest, that they had plenty of it. So it's just, it's very bizarre to me.
Yeah, that's the thing. And shout out to Ty. Check out Locked On Mariners. If you guys don't, great show as well. One of my favorites, Daily Watch. And yeah, Ty, spot on. You're spot on with it. It just, the whole thing just doesn't add up to me. Like you said, you're willing to go to Hernandez, obviously yesterday in a 1-run game. It's not a punt. You're thinking he can get it done. And then it's like, okay, he struggled yesterday, no doubt, had command issues, and then he's just gone. So I don't know, like Sauce has options. I mean,
that's true.
Could DFA Thornton. Listen, I understand not wanting to, like, if they had sent Sauce down, I could have, instead of like Thornton, I would have defended it. I would be like, listen, I get not wanting to DFA somebody. I can understand that, but they did DFA someone. So to me, it just didn't make a ton of sense. Again, I'm not going to try and lose too much sleep over Jonathan Hernandez, but it's someone that I thought could help. I know you did as well. And I thought he looked pretty good. And, they got rid of him for puzzling reasons. And I think, like you said, just the whole thing tonight, I don't think they needed that coverage necessarily. Let's move on to a positive, and that's JT Chargois. Another shutout inning tonight, 2 strikeouts, no walks, gets the win. He has looked really, really good since coming back.
Agreed. Yeah. And, I thought his first stint in Seattle, he looked good as well. And I was excited when we traded from it. First, you see like a, 1.80 ERA, whatever it was, but his savant page wasn't super encouraging. But then you look at the prior years and they were actually pretty solid. But like you said, I think just the eye test, he's like, a 95 to 96 mile an hour kind of power sinker, a really good slider. He seems to have really good command of both pitches. And he just kind of feels like he's in control of every outing and every inning he's out there. I feel good with him on the mound. So that was a really good, I think, kind of under the radar pickup there at the last second before the deadline.
Yeah, him and Jimmy Garcia both. But obviously not surprised with Garcia. We knew how good he was. And yeah, I think with Chargois, the ERA was great. Some of the underlying stuff wasn't as great, but also small sample size, hasn't pitched much this year. So sometimes that stuff can level out. Kind of reminds me a little bit in 2021 at the deadline. Diego Castillo was kind of the big name, but low key, Joe Smith was a really nice pickup for the Mariners that year and really helped out. I kind of view that a little bit with Garcia and Chargois this year. Obviously different profiles, but kind of the same result. Garcia is the big name, but especially with Santos going down, Chargois has been a really, really big boost to this bullpen.
He's been great. We've kind of been lacking that pivot guy this year. That's been an issue of, a starter comes out in the 6th or 7th with runners on base. I think he's a really good candidate for that because he's able to get the ball on the ground. And I think even Colin Snyder has kind of put himself in that spot too. So I feel really good with those two in the 6th and 7th, and now get the ball to Jimmy Garcia and Andres Munoz. So I felt very, very good about, the top 4 in the pen. Even Austin Both, I think, is solid. But the issue is that 6, 7, 8, Thornton, Saucedo, Bizardo now. Those 3 are really struggling. And to Scott's point, you can't run those 5 guys out there every single game. So we do need those 3 to pick it up a little bit, or maybe Santos will get back and can kind of bump one of them from the pen as well. But I wouldn't count on that. But yeah, Chargois has been amazing.
And I think you hit the nail on the head. That's really what they've been missing in the bullpen. The back end's been great. Even for a while there, Stanek was doing a pretty good job at the back end, at least results-wise, he was getting it done. It was that middle bridge. And, at times Trent Thornton could do it. There was times like, oh, Thornton looks really good. Then he just kind of revert to being bad and just too up and down. I think Chargois, and to your point, Snyder as well, really solidify that. And it's an important role because your starters are not going to go 7, 8 innings every time out. There's going to be games like yesterday, Kirby with 5 innings, that someone's going to have to come in and bridge that gap a little bit. And Chargois, Snyder, and like I said, both too, have all done a really nice job for this team. So I feel pretty good about the bullpen. Would be even more enamored with it if you could get Santos back to last year. I think now we're really cooking. and that just pushes these guys back even more, even to a point where, like, if you get Santos back in there, let's say Bryce Miller is 3 1/3. He's only given up 2 runs, but he's thrown like 80 pitches. You can go to Chargois to get out of that jam, and you still feel pretty good.
Yep, 100%.
We will move on to the offense. The Mariners today, 6 hits. They score 4 runs, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts. Obviously not an outstanding performance. They do enough. And, hey, you get the runs where you can get them. Doesn't matter what inning they happen in. Victor Robles, 0 for 4. Luke Raley, 2 for 3 with an RBI, or excuse me, with a home run and a walk, and then that hit in the 9th inning. Any thoughts overall, Raley, or just the offense in general tonight?
Yeah, Raley, I think it was good to see him get a home run off a lefty. So that was good to see. It feels like, Robles has maybe cooled off a little bit in the past 3 or 4 games. The offense in general, I mean, it's a very rough series. It wasn't even until the 9th inning. It's not like even like the Red Sox game we lost in game 3 where we had a ton of traffic. You can kind of point to like, hey, we're getting guys on base. We just need the big hit. There wasn't even a ton of that, which was frustrating. So, I think we need some guys to get healthy and get back because we're starting to see, like, I think Demo's hitting almost 200 now. Getting Julio back and JP back eventually will be a big boost, and I think we do need it. Just a frustrating series offensively for sure. Not much more to add than that.
Yeah, no, great point too. Like you said, not all 2, 3, 1-run games are created equal. Like you said, game 3 in Boston, this team was putting base runners on all over the place. Frustrating they couldn't get the runners home, but it wasn't. I mean, sometimes that's more frustrating, but the overall picture, that's better. You'd rather have the base runners. This series, like I said today, until that 9th inning, really nothing. Victor Robles has cooled off. I mean, still been a tremendous asset to this team, but rough series for him. Yeah, I joked on Twitter. I think everybody's been vindicated now from the Tuesday night decision because Raley gets the home run off a lefty and gets a hit off Holton. Mitch Garver has a line drive double off Skubal yesterday and has a hit off Holton as well tonight. So I think everybody was vindicated from Tuesday night.
Yeah, funny how that worked out.
So everyone was right. But yeah, no, good to see Raley getting those hits off lefties. Randy Arozarena, 1 for 4, the big hit in the 9th inning. I thought that was a great at-bat from Arozarena to keep that inning going. Cal was 1 for 4. Rough game for Justin Turner. He's someone they're just going to need to get on a hot streak. Any thoughts there with Randy, Cal, and Turner?
Yeah, like you said, Randy was a great at-bat. He kind of took a big hack on the 3-1 count. Looked like he was trying to tie the game up. And then, just good, solid hit the other way. Raleigh kind of a rough at-bat, and Turner's was kind of, I didn't expect that. I thought he would, post a productive at-bat, so that was a little bit out of character.
Yeah, I think in the 9th inning, Turner's was the most disappointing. Cal spit on a couple pitches, fouled one off. It was a really good changeup that Vest threw him. I think it's a little bit of a tip your cap. I mean, you want to lay off that pitch, but, I get it. I can understand how you'd swing and miss at that. Turner's was really rough because, like you said, that's where I just expect a better at-bat. That was the selling point of Justin Turner. Not going to strike out, isn't going to chase pitches like that, and he chases one that was just, I think it was a slider that wasn't even in the zone at any point during that at-bat. So that was a rough one. I'll give credit here. A real nice at-bat by Jorge Polanco, I thought, against Will Vest. It's funny, the 2 at-bats that win the game for the Mariner, well, I mean, obviously Raley and Arozarena as well, but Polanco and Haniger, 2 guys that didn't try and do too much in that situation. Polanco, I think, took 1 big swing, got up 2-0 in the count. And that's, and Blowers talked about the broadcast, and so did Aaron Goldsmith. That's fine. You're ahead 2-0, take that shot. But the rest of the at-bat, I thought did a nice job, laid off some pitches and gave Mitch a chance to win it. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, very professional at-bat by Polanco. Yeah, fouled off that kind of fastball up out of the zone. And then, Haniger, good job, fouled off a slider as well away before the big knock. So, great job by both of them.
Yeah, it's a great point, that fastball, because then Vest went back to it the next pitch to Polanco, and he almost did it. But he spit on it, and that was key. It's a lot of times where you see guys go after that again. So it's the right idea by Vest. Great job by Polanco. Rest of the order struggled. Good to see Mitch Garver get the hit off Holton. Had the line drive off Skubal yesterday. Any takes there from Garver? I mean, I think just from a mental standpoint, just nice to see him get a couple hits, if nothing else, just for that reason.
Agreed. Yeah, I think hopefully it's a start of something. Hard to say if it is, but I think even he just looked a little bit more confident when he stepped up to the plate today. So maybe the hit off Skubal's 100-mile-an-hour fastball, yesterday kind of helped them relax, because it'd be big if we could get him, hitting lefties down the stretch for sure. He's done it all of his career, and he can be pretty damaging when he's right.
Yeah, you made a great point on Twitter. And you obviously just said it now. I thought the swings looked a little bit better. Looked a little more confident in the swings. Even I think he swung and missed at one from Holton tonight, but he looked more dialed into it. I don't know. It's easy to say that when guys are getting hits that they look more dialed in, but yeah, just good to see for Mitch Garver. Like I said, I think for me at this point in the year, anything any of these guys can do, I'll take. I don't really care. Just give me something.
Yep, I'm exactly with you.
And then Rojas over 2, Dylan Moore's over 3, Rivas and Bliss pinch ran. Bliss gets the winning run. So not a great series for the Mariners, but they do salvage one. They get tied with Houston. So certainly a really, really fun win tonight. And we will take it. The Mariners will begin a 3-game set with the Mets tomorrow. Do you have any thoughts on the New York Mets?
No, it'll be, they're playing really, really good baseball. So it'll be a big series. Like we kind of said before, it seems like this team sometimes gets up a little bit more for the big names in these weekend series. So hopefully we can take 2 of 3 before going out on a road trip. I think we're certainly capable of it. I like the pitching matchups, and so we'll see what happens. But yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, they do. They really do seem to just, the Philly series, big crowds. Cal even kind of mentioned that a little bit, that the energy doesn't seem, and they've got to get that figured out. They need to get the energy regardless of who they're playing. But I actually have a pretty good feeling about this Mets series. I feel like this is one where the Mariners, they're going to have the pitching matchup advantage. The Mets can swing it. They've got a pretty good offense. But I feel confident, especially in Logan and Luis Castillo, and even Bryce Miller too at home, to keep this offense in check. And hopefully you can do a little damage. I think you face Quintana tomorrow, and I'm not sure the rest of the series, who they're facing. And I don't think the Mets bullpen has been all that great, to be honest. I could be dead wrong on that, but
nope, I think you're right outside of Diaz. Yep. Sorry, I gotta jump though quickly, but yeah, we'll chat next week.
Yeah, you're good. If you got to get going, yeah, go for it. Thank you for joining me, my friend. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, later. All right, I will finish this up, guys. Thank you to Mariner SUR for joining me. Always appreciate his insights into this. I know he's a dad like me, so there's always family stuff that pops up. But yeah, I think they've got a good chance here. I have a good feeling about the Mets series. It's nothing more than an intuition, but I feel pretty good about it. I'll wrap this up as well. Great win tonight for the Mariners. They needed that. They absolutely had to get that win. And like I said, just when you think you're out, this team pulls you back in like nobody else, and they change the narrative. Take care, everybody. Have a great night. Remember to hit that like button, comment your thoughts down below, and hit that sub button as I'm on the road to 4,000. Would love to hit that this weekend. It'd be so cool. And then channel members, be on the lookout. Next off day, which I think is Monday, I will have number 9 in my top 10 baseball movies up on the channel. So be ready for that. Take care, everybody. Enjoy your night. And as always, go Mariners. Peace.